What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. That's my guy, Jordan Maxson. Jordan, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing fantastic, brother. Had a little bit of time off today, so took everybody to see Horizon. It was more for me than anything, but it was definitely one of the better westerns I've seen probably in the last 10 years. So
Oh, wow.
definitely enjoyed it. Can't wait for part two this August. So other than that, just enjoying the post-holiday weekend, trying to get things kind of back in gear, catch up on a few things, but doing good here. How are you guys?
Doing good, Jordan. Doing good. We're staying busy. Fun weekend, a lot of swimming. You and I met up for a couple hours to work on a couple projects yesterday. That was good. Glad we're getting headed in the right direction on some of that stuff. Other than that, just watch the Reds take a beating this weekend. We had a big game, big FC Cincinnati game. Obviously, we talked about it last week, so I went out and got the jersey. Had to support the guys, and so just been busy. Quick update: the Reds are up 2-0 in the bottom of the eighth. They've got Reese Hines up. I know some changes have been made into the roster in the lineup. So we will talk about that when we get to the Reds, but 2-0 right now over the Rockies. The Rockies are a very, very bad baseball team. So we need to do our best to get a sweep here, Jordan. Anything else come to mind, though, from this past weekend that you want to touch on before we get into the show?
Oh, I mean, we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into FC Cincinnati. We're going to touch up on the Guardians a little bit and all their selections for the American League.
Yep,
for the
for
All Star
sure.
game, and just big time energy all the way around. The Reds were the only disappointment really across the roster. Joe Burrow had a nice little interview. It sounded good if you're a Bengals fan, saying that he kind of felt forgotten that what his talent was last year. So his words, not mine. So kind of he's eager to get back out there and play and have a healthy season. So words of encouragement there, and just we'll take off from there, Douglas.
Yeah, so let's start with the Reds, Jordan. Just you come off this massive series against the Yankees, Jordan. You sweep the Yankees. You get the
Yes.
Tigers. The Tigers are kind of meddling below 500. I think that before we started playing them, they were 8 games under 500, Jordan. And they come in here and they absolutely kick our asses. I mean, 3-game sweep. We couldn't get anything going on offense. Let's see, we score. I mean, we started. It was just too little, too late on offense, Jordan. We lost 5-4. We had the bang bang play at home to tie the game. We lose 5-3, trying to make the comeback, and then we get beat 5-1 in the finale. It just felt like the bats never got going early in the game, and it took too long to get going, and that's where we lost some of those games. So that was tough. But what were your thoughts watching those 3 games? Because to me, it was very, very disheartening watching the Reds get swept by the Tigers.
Oh, absolutely, but we shouldn't feel too bad. I believe they were beating the Guardians just a little bit ago, so maybe Detroit's found something. But just kind of looking at the series as a whole. I mean, I'm going to start with bad coaching, horrible base running. We had opportunities, I believe, in game 2. We had a guy on third and we sent him when we didn't have to, with one out on the roster. So that's definitely just kind of piss poor management. And it just kind of stems from there. Like you said, the bats were completely cold. Pitching wasn't great in game 1, but the team started them out a comeback, but it was too little, too late. A couple bright spots. There weren't as many errors overall. I think the Reds are in a bottom tier when it comes to errors as a whole team from MLB standpoint. So some of the fielding got cleaned up, but just inconsistency in the bats. Like we went to New York and did all that work and beat the drums when it came to home runs and doubles, and things kind of got going. And then we came back home where we have a losing record. Douglas, you pointed that out on our Twitter/X account that we are losers at home overall, and it shouldn't be that way. I don't know why we're better on the road, but kind of reared its ugly head the last probably 2 or 3 series at home. So
Yeah.
pitching, besides game 1, pitching was strong. Bullpen came out and did what they had to do. Things could have got a lot uglier in games 2 and 3 had the bullpen not come out and kind of got out of some bad situations. So Douglas, it's kind of what we were talking about, just beating the drum with no consistency in the bat, no consistency, in scoring,
Yeah.
and just overall bad coaching and terrible base running decisions. So
Jordan, to reiterate your point though, 20-26 at home, that's insane. Especially in a hitter-friendly ballpark like we have, but then you look at the lineup and you're like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense when we only have a handful of hitters who are decent at the plate. 22-22 away. We do have a plus 14 run differential. So there are some signs that this could be a good team. The Reds have scored again. It is now 3-0. So it does look like we will beat the Rockies tonight, luckily. Rhys Hines hit a home run. That's crazy.
Let's
Rhys Hines
go.
with a home run. What a call up.
Yes.
Mean, obviously the guy strikes out a lot, but he is a power hitter, and that's what we were asking for, and they called him up today. Rhys Hines hits a 450-foot home run. 450, Jordan. What a bomb. If we can get a highlight of that, we'll put it on here. But incredible. Happy for Rhys Hines getting that big home run there. We needed that in the lineup, a little bit of pop. Jordan, we also made a trade last night late. It was about 1 o'clock our time.
Yes.
The Reds go out and get Austin Slater from the Giants. Traded not a young, but a pitching prospect from AAA. What were your thoughts on Austin Slater? Looking at his stats, I know people are trying to spin it. They're giving us, from June to now, from June 8th, we're getting different splits to try to make him look better than what he probably is this year. Jordan, 200 average this season, 1 home run, 9 RBIs in 43 games. His career average is 254. He's played 8 seasons. What are your thoughts? He's meant to be a left-handed bat because he's a 275 hitter against lefties. What are your thoughts there, Jordan?
Well, Douglas, we do struggle against left-handers. We've highlighted that as the season has progressed on this show. Austin Slater was on the bottom tier of my list. I believe 2 shows ago. I had a kind of a wish list or moves I thought the Reds should or could make.
Yep.
He was on that list. It was on the bottom, Doug. It wasn't covet. Maybe we swang for the fences and nobody bid on what the Reds were offering, or maybe this is just something they settled into. But a move was made. He's not, like you said, in the mid 2s. It's just it doesn't feel like we pulled something consistent. But we're riddled with injuries. Besides the call up that's working out today, I think he's a step up from Dunn. I think he's a step up from some other guys that we've called up from the minor leagues and AAA. So yeah, we're getting a veteran, we're getting a pro. Maybe it works out, Douglas, because from an analyst standpoint, it just feels mid, and I don't, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's an all-pro athlete. He's been in the league for 8 years for a reason. So I'm not knocking the man, but I'm knocking from a team need standpoint. Mm-hmm. That this doesn't feel like it was it. How do you feel about it?
No, I think it's meant to be. It's meant to be a little bit of a stopgap right now with injuries. I don't think it's meant to be the answer. We know Stu Fairchild's injured. We know we've had a couple other injuries. Martini went out. So I think it's more meant to be a stopgap for some of those injuries instead of hey, this guy's going to come in and be the everyday outfielder. I don't think that's what this move was meant to be. He's meant to come in and help with the lefties. I don't want to look too much further than that. He does have a good bat against lefties, but again, like we said, not meant to change the world. There are some moves out there we could still make that are better moves. Jordan, we put out a poll today about how people felt about the move. The statistics were not favorable, to say the least. Jordan, we got over 100 votes. It was a letter grade A, B, C, or worse reactions than that. The trade was graded a C with over 38% of the vote going to C. So not a massive ringing endorsement for Slater. But again, a guy who can come in and hopefully hit left-handed pitching. And we didn't give up a ton. People are trying to overvalue the trade. We didn't give up a ton. We get an outfielder. We call up Hines. Hines, obviously has 2 hits tonight, which is impressive, but it's a good start. It's not the answer by any means. It is not the answer. So I don't want to get that twisted and people think that the team's fixed. No, absolutely not. So what else are you thinking there? Because this team's got to do something. We're waddling here. We're 6 games under 500. We're struggling at home, like we talked about. What do you think we can do to right the ship here? Besides go out and make a major trade. We're not going to all of a sudden get healthy. Is there anything we can do, or do we just have to right the ship at this point?
With it being the Reds, Douglas, and we like I touched up on it a couple episodes ago, it just has to be. I think there's one more move to be made. I personally would like to see a rotational move because Crawl went out and got an outfielder. So do I feel like he's going to double down on it and try to bring another power hitter? Realistically, as an analyst and as a longtime Reds fan, no, I don't think he's going to. So the next move I would like to see is adding a rotational piece. Maybe get another left-hander in. Call some of these teams that are going to be sellers. I know the Mets have been hot of lately, but maybe call the Mets, call the A's, even the Giants themselves. Just kind of look for maybe somebody we can put in a stopgap, especially with Lodolo continuing to kind of battle through injuries, and that's a huge black eye for us in our bullpen rotation. So if we could maybe pull off a guy that can come in and pitch consistently and get us some wins and set us up for success when it comes to arm, that'd be the direction I'd like to see the compass point for the Cincinnati Reds at this point.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So Ellie, 2 more steals tonight. He's got the steals mark. The guy is, the fastest man in baseball. Obviously, he's up to 45 steals. The Reds single season record is 81. He's pushing that mark. Hopefully, he can get to the Reds record. But other than that, Jordan, 3-0 right now against the Rockies. We will keep that updated if anything else happens. Let's transition, Jordan, to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs, Jordan, have not made any moves in terms of free agents, but we have started to assemble our coaching staff. What are your thoughts so far on the coaching staff? I'll give you the names: Johnny Bryant, Damari Carroll, Jordan Ott, and I believe we are keeping one of the Cavs coaches off of the JB's staff. So what are your thoughts so far on that?
I love it, Douglas, especially DeMar Carroll really not being out that long. Bringing in a guy in a locker room that can relate to current NBA player and athletes' problems when it comes to either injuries, practice, or communication is always kind of a huge win for me. So that kind of takes care of the player direct contact when it comes to what they're going through, especially during the grind of the season. So I was extremely happy to see that. Jordan Ott, I feel like it's a good addition as well, but I was more on board with the Carroll signing and bringing him as a coach. Now that we have our coaches, and a question that I kind of want to answer that I kind of want to pick your brain about later in this segment. Do you think that the belief is internally that our current roster was just talented enough to take that next step, and ownership just believes it was coaching at this point? Because Douglas, we're putting together a hell of a coaching staff. So I've kind of changed my stance just a little bit. There are moves that need to be made on this roster. Don't get me wrong. I'm not backtracking my trash talk from the last month or so about how I feel about it. But beyond our core 4, do you think this coaching change and this philosophy, do you feel better about the current people on the roster, or do you feel like it just needs to still be 100% like construction bulldozed and the bench players need to be reworked?
So while I do give them credit, this is an incredible coaching staff. Johnny Bryant was the assistant head coach with the Knicks, spent some time in Utah when Donovan Mitchell was there. Damari Carroll, like you said, was just wrapped up his playing career in 2020. He's been an assistant coach and working in player development with some other teams. He was on Ham's staff with the Lakers last season. Jordan Ott, Lakers, Brooklyn, as assistant coaches. He's heading up the summer league like we talked about last episode. We have a good staff, but the problem with this, Jordan, in my opinion, is as good as the staff is, we're still not able to compete with the top of the East. We haven't changed our outlook in terms of that. While I do think this staff is going to be able to get more out of the current roster, we just don't have enough pieces either way. I do think we're going to be the core four is going to be better. I expect a bigger output from Mobley. I expect Jared Allen to be even better. Mitchell's going to be an All NBA caliber player. We have to hope DG gets back to his all-star form. But we're relying so much on 4 guys when other teams like the Knicks, they have 5 guys. The Celtics, they have 6 or 7 that are legitimately good. The 76ers have 5 guys that you can count on every night.
Right.
I think we're just still a piece away from maybe getting in there. And that's not even talking about the Pacers who made the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bucks who are going to be healthy this season. Orlando, another year of seasoning. Paulo gave us all kinds of problems in the playoffs. Could you imagine that guy with another season under his belt? I mean, he's going to be a monster. We're staying too stagnant in terms of our roster. I know we keep throwing around the name Cam Johnson. I don't know what's holding back that trade, because it's clear to me that the Cavs front office does not want Brandon Ingram. I'm fine with that. Brandon Ingram wants the max extension next year, and he's not going to get that in New Orleans, and he's not going to get that in Cleveland. We're not going to go into the second apron for Brandon Ingram.
You wouldn't want him on a 1-year rental?
No. That makes no sense. Why would I would not trade Jared Allen for a 1-year rental. I would not do that. I would trade Jared Allen for a player that we have control over and are willing to pay, but I would not trade Jared Allen for a 1-year rental. That to me doesn't help. Shout out to Tyler McGurk, Sports with a Slur. All these guys seemed upset at the end of the year. What happened? New coaching. I think JB Bickerstaff really had worn that roster thin, Tyler. Everything that I've gathered, once JB was out the door, that really solidified Donovan Mitchell coming back, and it solidified everything within the team of that core group, in my opinion. And then you go out and you get a Kenny Anderson, a guy who has these relationships with Jared Allen, with a lot of guys, and then you build this kind of staff. I think that really solidified this group and everybody coming back and wanting to make another run. But that's the problem, is you get everybody back, but you're still not good enough to win the East. We're not close to being good enough to winning the East, Jordan. Quick update. The Reds are up 5-0 now. Ellie had a double to score Benson, and then Candelario grounded it into a fielder's choice where Ellie scored. Ellie might have stolen another base, or it was a throwing error. I didn't get to see the exact, but Reds are 5-0 now. It feels like we're going to get a win here, Jordan, tonight. So pretty excited about that. But back to the Cavs. We're getting down to the slim pickings. We still haven't even signed a free agent. We still need a backup center. We still need Craig Porter Jr. I do believe is going to be our backup point guard. I believe he's going to get more time. We still need a big wing. That's our issue. A big wing who can at least contend a little bit with some of these guys in the East now. Jordan, what are we going to do? You called it on Thursday or Friday. We're going to make a signing before Monday. Monday's come. The Cavs are still sitting on their hands. I'm getting a little worried that we're just going to go back with a roster that everybody from the outside looking in knows we cannot win a title. What are your thoughts there?
Although I am worried, my worry level is definitely higher. No doubt about it. I was really confident when I said that on Friday. I didn't say that for viewership. I didn't say that for clickbait. I was 110% sure that, we would at least make a move, or we would start sign and trade and get some other deals on the table, or start communicating maybe with like a 3-way trade. Just something to shake it up. I'm still dead set that Isaiah Okoro will not be a Cavalier when come tip-off time.
Yeah.
I personally feel like that. I believe his trade value goes down the longer we wait.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident. I don't think we're going to get the pieces back that I was 3 weeks ago that I do think now, but I don't think he's going to be a Cav. I think it's going to be tweaked and adjusted. I'll have to definitely kind of do more research on the free agent roster and see who's kind of still out there. I know big names are off the board, but
yeah,
there's still going to be some role players that we can bring in that are going to come in and score some points that, aren't guys that are just going to be signed for playoff appearances. So I still have hope in that. I just don't have a name off the top of my head right now. But like you said, New Orleans and that whole Brandon Ingram situation, that sucks because that's kind of the everybody was kind of pointing the compass there. Especially myself. I was pounding the table saying that it was going to happen. It was going to happen, and then now here we are. Like you said, it's Monday night. The clock striked midnight. Cinderella didn't come home, so it just kind of that pipe dream's kind of out of my reach. But I don't
Yeah,
have a
I'm
name,
with you.
Doug. I
I get that. I get
think
that.
they're going to make a move, but I just don't have a name.
I get that. Let's talk about something else. Summer League is coming up for the Cavs. I believe their first game is July 12th. Are you gonna be tuning in for any of the games, because Summer League is fun and the Cavs are looking to defend their Summer League title. Any thoughts on the Summer League team? You're gonna be tuning in because we've got obviously Jalen Tyson, we've got DJ Burns, we've got some good players to watch. Are you gonna be tuning in, Jordan?
Absolutely. I'm excited. I think Craig Porter Jr. is still going to play some minutes
Yep.
for the summer league, and that's out of all the other names though, because I think he's going to take the biggest step, especially on this roster. He's going to be my main focus on his development and how he can distribute the ball to all these other players that are involved, especially Burns underneath, because how he kind of works together with him is going to kind of be the crystal ball to how we get big men involved when Craig Porter Jr. is on the floor when it comes, big time prime time games. So definitely going to be tuning in for that to see how his development is and how his IQ level when it comes to passing and getting guys involved in a pick and roll. I know the defense isn't the same in the summer league, but
Right.
just you can't count out that experience, and the gameplay and the pace is going to be about the same. So I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to be tuning in because we've got, let's see, the schedule is Friday, July 12th versus Orlando at 4 on NBA TV. July 14th, Milwaukee, 3:30 on NBA TV. July 17th against Golden State, 10 p.m. on NBA TV. And then we've got July 18th versus the Lakers at 9 p.m. And that game's going to be on ESPN. So all these games are watchable. They are viewable. So definitely going to tune in and check out some of the younger guys and see maybe if Amani Bates has taken a step. Maybe, like we've talked about, Porter Jr., how's he look controlling the offense? We know he's trying to work his way into maybe a playoff rotation eventually, because we didn't get to see him in the playoffs very much. Let's see if he can maybe work his way and be more of a rotational piece this year going forward into big games. Jordan, anything else on the Cavs we need to talk about? It feels like we're kind of at a standstill here. At least we've got Summer League to kind of take our minds off of the roster and things like that. But every day this keeps going and going and going, and we're sitting on our hands as everybody else is getting better. And it really bothers me. It is really getting to me that we have not made any progress with this roster.
I honestly hope that it's the end of the Colby Altman era after this year. Him being president and in charge. It's just like you said. If they go in with this roster not tweaked at all, then his days he's got to be fucking out of here.
Yeah,
it can't be like that anymore. Especially, I wouldn't want to waste another year of Donovan Mitchell and all these other guys kind of hitting their prime or hitting their stride, and it would be extremely disappointing, Douglas. And I know trades can be made in season, but winning starts in the off season. It doesn't start in the trades you make in the middle of the season to try to patch a team together for a playoff run. So hopefully Thursday we got some better news.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Thursday, hopefully we have a move. It looks like the Reds have scored again, 6-0 as Espinal singles to center. Candelario scores. We've got 2 runners on with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. The Reds are pouring it on a little bit here late. You love to see it, Jordan. But let's take a walk. We're going to FC Cincinnati, Jordan. FC Cincinnati.
Let's go.
Absolutely trounced
Let's go.
Inter Miami. Absolutely trounced them. 6-1, Jordan. Absolutely embarrassed them over the weekend. Incredible performance from the boys. What were your thoughts, Jordan? I thought we had a good chance to win the game because of obviously they're missing Messi and Suarez, but beating the team 6-1, that is eye-opening. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Doug, it was an overperformance, at least in my mind, because we both agreed before we left the air on Friday that they were going to at least win. But damn, I didn't think they were going to make a statement win. This was an absolute trouncing. That I almost say this was their coming out party, Douglas, because my Inter Miami's given them some trouble before, and we've come up short against Columbus last year. So this is like welcome to the fucking party. Welcome to the big leagues. But even though they've been playing, elite level all year this year, but in my mind, when you beat a team like Inter Miami, this is your 1-2 punch. This was kind of a franchise statement game for me. How did you feel about it?
I thought this was more. See, you're taking it to a different level than I am, but I do think this was a big game. To me, it's more of a stamp on this season. We are the best team in the league. It's because I think everybody knows that FC Cincinnati is a damn good ball club. I do think everybody has a pretty good idea that we are there, but I don't think anybody has said to this point. I don't think anybody said, okay, this is the best team in the league. These guys are the favorites to win the East and come out of the East. I think it's still early, but a 6-1 beating on Miami, no matter what's going on, that's a stamp on the season. And to me, that shows that FC Cincinnati is the best team in the league. They are the most dangerous team in the league when they're on. I mean, look at this. Kubo, 2 goals. Acosta, a goal. Buka, 30, a goal. Assad, goal. Valenzuela, goal. I mean, 6 goals, Jordan. Poured it on them. And their only goal came in the 21st minute. There was nothing else that was really threatening in that game to the level that that Cincinnati was ever worried. Controlled the ball 53% of the time, had 10 shots on goal, 15 shot attempts. It was a pretty physical game, Jordan. There was 13 fouls for Cincinnati, 14 for Miami, 5 yellow cards combined, 1 red card, 7 corner kicks for FC, and 5 for Miami, 3 saves for FC, 4 for Miami. I mean, we just put the ball in the net, and it was an impressive game from FC Cincinnati. You're gonna have to convince me that somebody else is gonna have to take the MVP award from Acosta. To me, watching him play and watching how he kind of controls the field and makes everybody better and can still score himself. That he's very possibly going to be back-to-back MVPs, Jordan. What are your thoughts? Because wow, I am still amped up from that game. That was a hell of a ball game.
Oh, that absolutely hell of a game, a complete game. One of the most complete games I've seen all season. I know people have kind of given us a little bit of feedback because of what Inter Miami was missing star power wise, but 6 goals, Douglas. That doesn't happen. Even you add some players in, and that's still a hell of a game. And Inter Miami, like you just read the statistics there, they had their chance with corner kicks, they had their chance with saves, and things that amounted to not bad statistically, but we like you said, we just put it in the net and they never looked back. So I think he probably will win another MVP, Doug. I would love to see it. He elevates the play, like you said, perfectly there. And that's, it's one thing to have the star power and to be able to score the goals. It's another thing to make your whole unit better. And that's something that he just absolutely brings to the table. He brings that sluggers mentality. He brings kind of that ground and pound. We're going to get it done no matter what. Because just 3 games ago, Douglas, when they played the New England Revolution, we lost it statistically, but we won the game. So you look at they're winning games both ways. And right now, that's what it takes to be the best, and deservedly so. They moved up to the best in the East. So I am absolutely thrilled to get the rest of the season, in the books and get going, especially when Inter Miami gets their stars back, because I want to see this matchup more than anything.
Right. And we've talked about that last week. That's the game of the year. If they can get Messi back, they can get Suarez back, and we play that last game, before the season wraps up. That's game of the year in the MLS. that game, if they could find a way to get that on ESPN or something, get that on ABC, try to get a big audience for that kind of game, because that's the kind of game that people will come in and watch. So, like you said, Jordan, we took over the Eastern Conference with 48 points to 47. Columbus Crew, 39 points. They're not out of it yet. They're still in that conversation. They've been playing good ball lately. That 6 draws for them is really the separator. When they have 6 draws to our 3, and then Miami just falling behind in the win column behind FC Cincinnati. Next game, Jordan, for FC will be the 13th against Charlotte FC. Charlotte FC, right now, they are 6th in the East with 32 points. So a little bit further down the standings. Do you expect a letdown game by any chance, Jordan? Because that does happen after you come out and you have a big emotional burst and you pour it on a really good team. There's that there's not that same energy for somebody who's a little bit lesser. Any thoughts on that?
Well, Doug, as FC's last loss came to a team that was a hell of a lot worse record-wise. And this win solidifies that big bullseye that we've been talking about the last few episodes on FC Cincinnati. It is bigger than ever before. So I hate the fact that there's so many days off in between this one and the next game. I hope there's not a letdown, but I think that maybe we come out a little bit flat, probably in the first 25, 30 minutes. But I think Cincinnati scrapes one. I can easily see a 2-1 win, a 3-2 win. Cincinnati coming out on top and kind of grinding through it, because they're going to have to. You want to make a statement as a franchise, you want to beat the best, and that's what FC Cincinnati did to Inter Miami. And every step moving forward, everybody that plays FC Cincinnati, they're going to have that same mentality, Douglas. So I think they're going to come out and give them probably a hell of a game. I think it's going to be competitive.
No, that's well said. One last thing to tie a bow on this segment, Jordan. 48 points, 2.1 goals per game, 12 wins in the last 14 matches. FC Cincinnati owns the East right now. Huge, huge, huge for the boys. Cannot wait for the next one. Jordan, rolling right along. Let's get into the college football highlight. Now, guys, to be fair, we are doing Division I only, but at the same time, Youngstown State, they play the subdivision of Division I. So we got to support the guys, the Penguins. They have one of the coolest logos with the little penguin. The penguin is a badass. So Jordan, let's talk about it. Youngstown State, a little less in depth this one, but I did want to give them a shout out. All right, kind of pulled up here.
I mean, that's Jim Trussell territory, Doug. So
exactly.
That's a guy that's near and dear to our heart. And went back there, got to go back there after he was done being a consultant with the Indianapolis Colts after he served his time in suspension,
right,
from the NCAA. He went back there, so it's definitely a team that's always been kind of up. It's a team that nothing became of it, but I actually got to work out for my junior year in high school. It was fun. It was an honor just to be there. I think it was AA back then, before the big league switch up. So it was definitely a fun organization. There's not a lot out there, but a lot of manufacturing jobs and stuff of that nature. But wonderful campus, great coaching staff that I got to meet when I was there. This was in 2006, so many years ago. Yeah. But Youngstown State, they've always been kind of in it when it was Division AA. So.
They've won a ton. Yeah, no, they've won.
That's what I'm saying. They've been in it. So hit me with some statistics, Doug.
They're obviously in the Miami Valley Football Conference. Their stadium is called the Ice Castle. That's the nickname for it. I thought that was so bad. I thought that was so badass. I didn't even put the real name. Their head coach, Doug Phillips, 19-22 record in 4 seasons. Their rival is North Dakota State University, who we've come to know as a powerhouse. Recruiting is a little bit different at this level. They were the 202nd rated recruiting class, only 2 commits. The transfer portal is much bigger as you have, those higher D1 guys move down to this conference from time to time. The 153rd rated transfer class with 9 commits. Their top players, Jordan, Tyson King, their running back, led Youngstown in rushing with over 1,000 yards and 9 TDs. Max Tomzat should be their number 1 receiver this year, second on the team last year in catches and yards. And then they have a really solid corner in Jalen Castleberry. He led Youngstown State with 7 passes deflected last year. A talented group, just a team that is trying to get back to where they once were, like we talked about with Jim Tressel, like we talked about previously. Tyler McGurk chiming back in. Speaking of Tressel, what is OSU fans' thoughts on Claret? Hopefully a lot of love, but understand if it's different. Maurice Claret.
Don't hit me with that.
Maurice Claret made some poor choices in his time with Ohio State, and after his time with Ohio State, again, he has completely turned his life around and is doing much, much better. But, pulled the gun on people in the alley. He did tried to leave early before you could do that. So just made some tough decisions, and Jim Tressel always stood up for him and really always stood up for all the guys. I mean, you remember the tattoos scandals and stuff where players were selling their own merch to tattoos.
When we had Ursary on, because Ursary is a big Arkansas guy, so he kind of bit me back a little bit when I gave him shit over the Sugar Bowl. When that's in NIL age, we need that win back. If Reggie gets his stuff back, I think that Terrell Pryor and company and that team definitely should get that win unvacated, and that trophy should come home. With probably a little Jim Tressel gathering, so it would be really nice to see.
Definitely, Jordan. The schedule for Youngstown this year. They've at Villanova. They lost to Villanova last year. They got Valpo. They've got Duquesne at Pittsburgh. That's going to be a tough one. At Missouri. That's game of the week for the conference.
Wow.
Indiana State. What? Go ahead.
No, just look again. We keep highlighting these smaller schools. They are not afraid to put these big teams on here. Pitt.
Not at all.
Pitt is a big opponent for a team like Youngstown State in this day and age, especially in NIL. That's really hats off to Youngstown for not backing down at all.
Yep. So they've got Missouri State, they've got Indiana State, South Dakota State, South Dakota, North Dakota, Illinois State, at Southern Illinois, and then they've got another game of the week against Northern Iowa. A tough schedule, but they don't have to play. North Dakota State this year, so that should help. But again, they are still in that rebuild, trying to get back to the place where they once were. We wanted to just highlight Youngstown State because, again, they don't get talked about a lot in the state of Ohio. And it's all, it's always Ohio State, Cincinnati, all those teams. We wanted to really highlight the MAC, highlight some of these other teams. We've got a lot of time to talk about Ohio State. We still touch on their recruiting all the time, but we could spend so much time on Ohio State. We wanted to highlight some of these other schools and give them an opportunity to get a little shine. Jordan, this is actually going to be our second to last episode of our college football highlight. We've hit all of the D1 schools in Ohio. Next week, we're going to tackle the Ohio State Buckeyes. On Thursday, we're going to tackle the Ohio State Buckeyes. And we're obviously going to get in more in depth as we get closer to the season. We'll do record breakdowns. We'll do position breakdowns. We'll do all kinds of stuff with Ohio State. But we're going to do our college football highlight for Ohio State on Thursday. So that should be fun. Definitely rooting for these Ohio teams to do well. There's no reason for us not to be able to cheer for all these teams. We know Ohio State's the big dog. Let's support the rest of these Ohio colleges during the football season and give them an opportunity. Any last thoughts on Youngstown State, Jordan, before we move on?
No, just everything that we kind of highlighted. We know that Jim Tressell's right there. The heart and soul came from there, so he kind of went back, and hopefully they find their footing. It would be nice to see them kind of be on top of the subdivision and Division I again. I think they deserve it. I've loved their logo forever. I've played with them a few times back in NCAA 12, 13, 14. Right. That era of football was always fun when it came to video games, and just having our mascot running around doing flips and stuff. So it was always kind of fun to see those things, and working out with them was an absolute pleasure. Like I said, nothing ever came about it before my Marine Corps career, but just always hats off to Youngstown State. They always kind of hold a little spark for me. They're one of the few teams that looked at me, so it was really nice.
Definitely. Shout out to Youngstown State. Jordan, let's get ready to transition. We're going to touch on the Reds, though. They beat the Rockies tonight 6-0, back in the win column. We had, Rhys Hines hit his first home run. He had a double also. Ellie with a double. Candelario RBI. Espinal RBI. Hines RBI. De La Cruz RBI. And then Ellie had the 2 steals tonight that were huge to help the Reds beat the Rockies. Sorry.
I think the Candyman had 2 RBIs, right? Because he had a solo home run and then a
no, he didn't have a home run tonight. That was Hines. Hines had the only home run. Candyman only had the 1 RBI. Yeah, gotcha. Everybody just had 1. You're good though. But I just wanted to touch on that before we move on to our next topic. We're going to be talking about the other team in Ohio, Jordan. We don't usually give them the biggest spotlight, but we're going to talk about them today. The Cleveland Guardians, Jordan. They are playing the Detroit Tigers, who just swept us. So obviously we're rooting for the Guardians to get back in the win column. As of right now, they lost 1-0 tonight to the Tigers. You said it very nicely. The Tigers own Ohio right now. It's kind of bullshit, Jordan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
These guys were not a good baseball team before they came to Ohio, and now they are taking over the state. What are your thoughts, buddy?
A little disappointing to see the Tigers go 4-0 in the state of Ohio right now, but especially against the Guardians, who are absolutely stacked, and we're going to touch into it why. But the Guardians are a much better organization than our Cincinnati Reds. So to see the Tigers kind of perform some magic there, they might have found something, Doug. But we'll dive right in. 5 All-Stars, Doug. 5 All-Stars for the Cleveland Guardians representing the AL. I can't remember, at least in my time as a fan, consistently where that kind of number has been sent to the AL, or 5 or more. That's got to be it's got to be rare, right?
I can't remember off the top of my head the last time there was 5, but I'm sure it's definitely happened. Let's shout them out. Stephen Kwan, the best hitter in baseball. Emmanuel Class, the best closer in baseball. Jose Ramirez, one of the best players in baseball. David Fry, a young guy who's a damn good player in his own right. And Josh Naylor. This team is absolutely loaded. They like we've said multiple times throughout this show. This is a really, really good baseball team. It's impressive what they've done without spending any money, Jordan. They are like the Reds. They do not spend a lot of money, and yet they are putting a damn good team on the field. That's a real kick in the shins for the Reds, watching these guys just play fantastic baseball.
Well, they've always been well coached, and that's something I can never take away from Cleveland. They've always had great managers. They've always had good coaching staff. Names that you're solidly familiar with, and I think that goes a long way. You can spend less money when you're well coached in a game of baseball. It's one of those rare sports that you can overcome a lot of things when you get the fundamentals right, and that's where it's killing the Reds defensively. Really hats off to the Guardians.
For sure, hats off. Second best record in baseball right now. They are behind the Orioles by 1 win. So just incredible effort by the Guardians this year. It does seem like they need a little bit of help in the pitching staff, but overall, this team is really fun to watch. Stephen Kwan remains just watching pitchers struggle to get outs on this guy every at bat is so impressive, because you would never expect this looking at him, and he comes out, he battles his ass off, and he routinely ends up with a hit when you least expect a hit to be made. And he's up to 358 right now with his batting average. He's finally eligible to be in the batting average race, so he is leading the baseball in hitting. Ramirez continues to smash. He's got 23 home runs, 76 RBIs, 93 hits. This team just all around, just a really good team top to bottom, Jordan. I'm really envious of how good these guys are.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you, Doug. It's just a well organization right now from top to bottom. Whether it's pitching, well, like you said, I think they're one starter away from being a championship.
Yes.
Obviously, they're going to be there in October. There's no doubt. Second best team in baseball, like you just highlighted. But they got to find that. I think they're going to make a big move for a big arm before the trade deadline. But
That would be
you're
really
the right.
that'd be really nice. I mean, it would be really nice to see their front office go all in because of how good this team is. Go out and get a starter to help this team out, and yeah, like you said, make a legitimate push because the pieces are there to contend for a title. You just have to solidify the pitching staff, and that's where they come up a little bit shy, Jordan. So we touched on the Guardians, Jordan. We've touched on a lot tonight. Let's transition back. Any news or notes? Anything you want to talk about, Jordan, before we get out of here tonight? A lot talked about. A lot coming up on Thursday. What do you want to talk about, buddy?
Just kind of highlighting. We highlighted a lot. Ohio State gets another win in the recruiting column.
Yes.
About bringing in another big time linebacker. Always good to see. So they're just we hope it translates into wins. I know we kind of got into the argument on, well, I wouldn't even say argument. We got in the comment debate when it came to how people feel about Ryan Day, but it's championship or die. That's right. That's how I feel. That's where his career is at Ohio State, in my opinion. People can throw around that he's 80 percentile in wins overall, but he's in a losing column when it comes to the team up north. He's a losing column when it comes to playoffs and bowl games, and that's what you judge the season on. So that's in a program like Ohio State that has, tons of money, tons of NIL, deals that they can flex. It's not hard to recruit when it comes to, flashing that in front of players' faces. You have the prestige name of the Ohio State Buckeyes. It helps a lot. We have a great coaching staff that goes out and recruits, big time names from the program. But at the end of the day, can they put it all together? And I'm ready for kickoff, Douglas. I need to see it in action. I want to see the poetry in motion right now. Our quarterbacks room is just absolutely balling right now. Our receiver room, unbelievable. Our linebacker room just got even a bigger upgrade. I know we won't see it till next year, but just, week in and week out, we get these little things and clips, and I'm excited for it. I'm ready for some football, damn it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there. I'm ready for football. It's going to be an exciting year. We're the favorites to win the championship again. Like you just said, reiteration. It's do or die time for Ryan Day. We've got to win this. We've got to win a title this year. I'm sick of this. Oh, he's a good recruiter. He's got a winning percentage of he wins 80% of his games. Dude, recruiting at Ohio State is a given. If you couldn't recruit at Ohio State, you wouldn't be in the profession. We have to win against Michigan. We have to win national championships. Ryan Day has not delivered that yet. At a certain point, if we lose to Michigan again, it's over. He's got to be gone.
Oh, it has to be, even with the new format. Even if they sneak into the playoffs,
we could lose to Michigan and be the 12th seed and still win the national championship. Yeah, I mean, maybe if we win the national championship after that, I could see continuing on. But damn it, he's got to beat Michigan, and we've got to win a national championship. This is the year, Jordan. This is the year. So I'm glad we touched on that before we got out of here. Quick shout out to everybody. 127 live viewers right now. We really, really appreciate that. It means the world to us. Make sure you check out the social medias. We've got them all over the place. Our X, OH_Sports Talk, the YouTube, Ohio Sports Talk. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We're trying to get to 210 subscribers. And then our TikTok, OH_Sports Talk. We're doing a lot over there on TikTok. We appreciate everybody who tunes in and watches.
Yes.
We are working on starting a koozie business here. We're selling Ohio Sports Talk koozies. We're going to have a red version with black lettering coming soon. So if you are interested in getting an Ohio Sports Talk koozie, they're going to be $5.99. Thank you to anybody orders. We'll have the shop up and running hopefully by the weekend. Thank you all. It means the world to me and Jordan. And we're going to keep delivering every Monday and Thursday and potentially on Fridays, when things happen on Thursdays. We appreciate everybody who tuned out for that Friday show. You guys made it one of our best shows ever, especially with the viewership. Thank you guys so much. Jordan, anything you want to add on there?
No, I just thank you to the fans again. We appreciate everybody that shows out. Hit that subscribe button for us. We're free right now. Hit that like button, interact with us. We're extremely interactable on X. We love getting the conversations, hearing your guys' opinions. That's why we put the polls out there. That's why we say, leave your comments underneath how you feel about it. Hit that retweet button, push us out there. We're small right now, but we're building something big here in Ohio, and it's only going to get bigger. And through support through our fans and viewerships, it's how it gets done. We'll get our shop up and running. We got some other projects in the works to bring you guys better viewership, a better program, and just a overall better product. So we thank you guys again, and this has been us tonight, Douglas. Let's sign off, and we'll see everybody Thursday at 9.
All right, guys, this has been Ohio Sports Talk. I am Doug. That's Jordan, and we will see you Thursday night at 9 o'clock. See you then.